obviously, both teams were hard to guard. The scoreboard reflected that. Series of runs, sure, you're going to have. It was a tough game. All losses are tough, but I felt like we competed. And then when we went through a really tough stretch, where they were making shots. We could have a few possessions. Maybe you can do a little more. But they put a lot of pressure on you from the three-point line, and then put you in closeout situations, and then get to the basket.
I was going to say, coming out of the half, if it was just a little bit of a flat start that helped Indiana get sort of into a rhythm, or was it just that they were playing maybe a little bit more physically?
No, I think, to be honest with you, we didn't get stops, and obviously the result of that being their scoring, of course, but also, you don't get a chance to get out, and we were good in transition. And there were some deep threes, there were some blow-by drives when we were trying to contest threes. But I think that, obviously there's other stretches during the game, and there's stretches that we had, and it is a game of runs. We saw that tonight.
Coach, from what I could see from the eye, the team's focus was there from the start to the finish. Can you just talk about how, I don't want to capitalize on the losses, but how those two losses kind of taught you guys how to come closer to closing this one out?
Well, I've said it before, and it rings hollow. When you lose a game, it's this competitive. You feel like you're right there, but I do feel we're trying to improve all the time, and to the extent that even the starts of the games, it's something we talked about. And not anything you can hang your hat on, but we will look at the execution and some of the things that hurt us, and again try to keep working on them as we're also playing games. And we got to bounce back tomorrow night.
I also wanted to ask about your trust in Bogey. He had those 3 fouls in the first quarter, but you left him in there, you trusted him. Can you just talk about how he played tonight and your trust in him?
Yeah, it's actually something I've talked to DeAndre about when he picked up a couple early. I think if I'd rather play him, and if he picks up his 3rd foul, adjust to it then. Because it's not something you do all the time. You kind of feel the game, but he is a rhythm player, and he looked like he was in a groove anyway. So leaving him in there just, to me, made sense tonight.
With Halliburton, you guys held him to 11 points in the first half, and then he kind of exploded in the second half. What was the adjustment that he made that, I guess, made that possible for him?
He moved back, for one thing, and was shooting his step back, and at his height, it's a tough shot to contest if he gets it off, and he was making them, from that high quadrant, and we started trying to hit him in the backcourt. There weren't as many opportunities to blitz him and pick and roll because they were just spacing, but he's obviously a really good player. And we had some of the same offense on our side too. It was one of those games where you felt like the last team that had the ball, one of those games. But like I said, he's a real good player, and it's tough when he's as good a passer as he is, because if you do try to double team him and get it out of his hands, and we tried to do that and denied it back to him. Just a lot of work, and it's usually 5 guys when you get in that situation. And for a team that shoots it that well, you put yourself in some tough spots when you double him as well. But it made sense after he got going.
Quin, I know it's not the outcome you wanted, but I wanted to ask you about Trey's defense tonight. I mean, he got that stop late, he drew the charge. Just what did you think of his defensive effort?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that. I've been saying it the whole year, and to whatever extent there's a narrative that develops about someone. He's been good off the ball. He's been good on the ball. He's competed. I can show you a long edit of the times he's picked up full court, and someone should talk about it. It's not, when you talk about Trey tonight, you talk about what a great offensive game he had, and he did. But it's one of the things that I've told him, even early in the year when some of his shots weren't going, he didn't stop defending. That's good to see, from all our guys. That's the mentality we have to have. And, there are some things tonight that obviously defensively we can do better, and we played against a team that can score.